So what's up YouTube, it's JeffMan316, your pop culture reporter, coming to you with a new review video. In this review, I'm going to tackle the latest holiday special of the limited series Creepshow that currently airs on the streaming service Shudder. I like Shudder, and I really have gotten into the Creepshow TV series. I got the first season there that I bought on Blu-ray. It had more hits than misses. I will say, I will be fair, some of their episodes do miss the mark a little bit, but I think they have more hits than misses. So with that being said, before I review the holiday special, do me a favor and like this video, hit the thumbs up now or after you watch it. Leave any comments as we go along or at the end. Let me know if you agree with this or whether you like this episode, this holiday special, whatever you want to call it. And subscribe to the channel because I'm new to YouTube and I'm looking to build up this channel and do more reviews as we go into 2021. Hopefully that'll be a better year for all of us. And then hit the notification bell because then you'll be notified as soon as I do post these new videos. So with that being said, let's get on over and let's start the review. So YouTube, this is JeffMan316. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you guys today about the holiday special from the Creepshow series that airs on Shudder. They recently released this a couple weeks, I think, before Christmas. I just got around to watching it and I really liked it, so I wanted to come by and talk to you guys about it. The episode is entitled Shapeshifters Anonymous. And that don't let the title scare you away, because even though it's really corny, like most of the Creepshow things, this one I think has got enough positives about it that I really would like for you guys to check it out. I'll go ahead and read you a synopsis of it so I'm not leading you down the wrong path. You'll know exactly what you're getting into. It says, "'Twas the night before Christmas, and a man who suspects that he's a werewolf seeks out others of his kind at Shapeshifters Anonymous and tries to find out if there's a cure for his condition. Unfortunately, Kris Kringle is sworn to wipe out all were creatures, and he and his army of helpers pay Shapeshifters Anonymous a visit." So with that being said, as you can see, you got two themes there. You got Christmas because it's got Kris Kringle, and they really are talking about Kris Kringle, Santa Claus. And then Shapeshifters, and that's where the title comes from. So this, I'll go ahead and break this down kind of into, as we're talking about it, into the categories that I'm going to normally do. I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and does this have any WTF or, you know, what the is this moments. There's at least one of those in this, but it's overall, I'll go ahead and tell you now, it's overall positive. So one of the main goods that I'll give this is the cast of the episode. I hadn't recognized everybody in it, but the main two people that I do recognize is Anna Camp. She plays a character called, I think it's Irina Reed, and Adam Pally plays Robert Weston. So Robert Weston is the character, or Robert Weston is really the main character of this story. He's the one that's described in the summary I gave you that thinks he's a werewolf. And Anna Camp, if you don't know her, she is one of the preppy girls that's from the Pitch Perfect movies. And I think the reason I really like her in this is almost like the polar opposite of what she plays. She starts out thinking that you may think she's going to be a similar character, but she goes total opposite, and I just love her in this role, and I wish she would do more things like this because that shows what kind of range that she can have. Adam Pally, if you're not familiar with him, I'll give you one movie to check out, and if you watch that and you like it, you'll like most of the things he does. It's a movie called Search Party. He's in that with T.J. Miller. He plays usually like almost like a modern day Woody Allen type character in most of his movies and shows that he's been in. He's real neurotic in his worries about everything, and that plays perfect for this role. So Robert Weston visits Shapeshifters Anonymous after thinking that he may be a werewolf, and then they do this through some how he came about to think this through some flashbacks where he's going back and forth with his doctor because he's starting to find some weird things. And what's a good way to put it? in his waist. So things like pieces of cloth, buttons, and things like that. So he comes there, they let him in, and just so you know, there's some really cool Easter egg type things in this. I'll give you one of them. Like when he knocks on the door and gives the password, I think it's something like Landis is in there, and as everybody knows, Landis was because Landis was the director of American Werewolf in London. That's kind of a little cool little Easter egg in there. But once he gets into the meeting and they let him in, he finds a group of people who think that they're, I'm going to call them, like they did in this description, were creatures, because it's easier for me to remember, instead of like lycanthrope or whatever all the other ones they called each other. But it's a group, and it's more like a support group for people who, he obviously at the beginning thinks they're all crazy, that everybody is like him. And through the story and then throughout the night of what happens, he realizes that maybe he's not so crazy after all. So you have a group of people where the main female, which was played by Anna Camp, she thinks she's a cheetah. You've got one of them that thinks they're a tortoise, so a turtle. You got one of them that thinks that they are a boar, so like a pig. You've got another one who's just silent through almost the whole episode, doesn't say anything, so you don't know what he is. You obviously got Robert Weston, who thinks he's potentially, he doesn't know, but it just sounds like he could be a werewolf. And they're kind of excited because they've never seen a real person who thinks they're a werewolf. And then you've got another one in there who ends up being a furry. And if you don't know what that is, they dress like an animal and want to be an animal. And she wants to be a hippopotamus. So that's the kind of humor that's in this, as far as it's over the top, it's zany, it's crazy, and if it doesn't sound like that's your cup of tea, you might want to avoid this, because that's about how silly some of it gets. But I'll give it credit. This is one of the episodes to me that feels closest to the original Creepshow movie. They do a really good job of using practical effects. I don't think there's any, if there's CGI in this, it can't be much. A lot of practical effects, which are good and bad, mostly good. And then it's got a really good use of the comic book panel style as it's telling the story of transitioning in and out of flashbacks and stuff. And then there's probably a couple scenes that they wouldn't have been able to afford to film for effects reasons, that they use cartoon panels. I think they do an excellent job at it, of telling the story back and forth with the cartoon panels in this, like in the comic book. So really good use of the Creepshow method of telling stories. So once Robert Weston gets in there, they start, having the meeting, and they start going around telling their stories about why they think they're like this, and then they try to help him try to figure out what kind of creature he is. So they open up this big box of magical, whatever you want to call it, or just things that you could test whether somebody is a were creature or not. So I think he ends up touching some wolfsbane, and it makes a explosion, like it shocks and blows him back. So they're like all excited because they think they've discovered that he really is a werewolf. So throughout the story, he wants to know more about the werewolf, about the were creatures and where they came from, and they start telling him some historical information, and this is where the story goes and links into the Christmas theme. And I won't go into all the details, but let's just say the were creatures, when the first one was created, in order to create somebody that could kill him, Kris Kringle was chosen, and there's this whole subplot about it links into the Bible, and I don't want to get into that in this video. So let's just say you've got the first were creature, werewolf, and you've got the person who was given the weapons to fight him, and it turns out to be Kris Kringle. And then that's the way they explain it, is that Kris Kringle had killed these people that were were creatures, and in order to make their children feel better and to appease, make amends for what they did, he would leave them presents or whatever. It is really far-fetched and it sounds stupid, but it's really funny, and it's really cool the way they do that. I'm probably not doing the story justice, but I think it's worthwhile you watching it. I'm not going to give too many spoilers, but I will tell you that at the end, Santa Claus the people dressing up as Santa Claus are Kris Kringle's helpers. They were tracking Robert. They tracked him to this meeting, and then the whole last act of the show is the Santa's helpers coming in trying to fight them. They basically use up all their ammo, and then Kris Kringle himself showing up, and then there's a huge battle at the end. And like I said, I won't spoil the ending of it, but most everything they do is about the creatures as far as when they're transforming or whatever. It's practical effects. It goes back to a lot of the stuff that was done like in American Werewolf in London. So to stay in this good section that I'm talking about, Greg Nicotero was the one who wrote and directed this. And you can tell he done a lot of his effects, like from Walking Dead, use a lot of practical effects. He didn't fall back on a lot of CGI stuff like he's done lately on some of the Walking Dead stuff. He did a lot of good job with the practical effects. Now, if you thought the American Werewolf in London effects were cheesy and you didn't like that kind of practical effects, you're not going to like this, because I just think they did an awesome job when they transformed, especially the werewolf. The tortoise looks cool. Reminds me something, like out of a live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles type thing, but more realistic looking turtle. I really think the cheetah, though, is awesome. Anna Camp does an awesome job of becoming the cheetah, and she's got, obviously an attraction to Robert Weston's character, because he does turn out to be a real werewolf. And so it's cheesy, it's campy, but that's what Creepshow is supposed to be. If you remember the creature that was in the box in the original movie, if you like that kind of thing, that's another example, then you're going to like this. There's not, I would say, a lot in my bad section for this. It is really in the last act, it's really kind of campy. The story kind of breaks down. I think it's really good as far as the dialogue, the characters. Everything builds up great into the last act, and it kind of falls off. Some of that is because maybe the use of the practical effects goes off the rails a little bit. It's a little over the top, but it's really not a lot bad at this. It's exactly what it needs to be. It's a Creepshow holiday special, and that's what it is. If I had to give it a, what the is this moment, it's the very last part where the one guy turns into it turns out to be the very first werewolf, transforms, and then fights Kris Kringle. That is really kind of really cheesy. It's almost too over the top. The weapons that Kris Kringle uses, the suit that he's got on, the presentation of Kris Kringle to me could have been done a little better. When that kind of hit, it kind of took me out of it for a little bit, and it was really cheesy. You could tell that a lot of practical effects were going on at the same time, so they couldn't have a good interaction. It was almost like if the fight scene had been better. So, that's going to be my WTF moment, is that fight scene at the end is really cheesy, but I really like the episode, and I like how it ended. They did a really good job. Like I said, there's been some weak episodes of the series. There's been some strong ones, but I think this is a really strong episode. I think you'll do yourself a disservice if you don't give this a try. If you don't have Shudder, go ahead and sign up for one of their 30-day free trials, if for nothing else but to watch the Creepshow holiday special. So I hope you enjoyed my little review of the Creepshow. I hope it maybe made you decide whether you want to go out and watch it or not. If you like this review, go ahead, like I said at the beginning, hit the thumbs up, give me a like, put some comments below. Did you like this episode? Did you not? Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I hope to continue to do more videos like this and reviews as we go into 2021, and hopefully it'll be a better year for all of us. I know New Year's is coming up, so if you don't watch any of my videos other than this one between now and then, I hope everybody has a great Christmas and is going to have a happy New Year. And with that being said, hit the notification bell, because in the future, as I post more of these videos, you'll be the first to know, and you can come over and check them out before anybody else. So I appreciate your support. I appreciate you watching this video. And this is Jeff Man 316, your pop culture reporter, signing out saying, you guys be safe out there.